Hey, Dustin Tibbitts here, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers. How you doing today? Hope you're doing well out there. We're talking to the baby boomers out there today that maybe need a little bit more passive income, right? This doesn't always happen, and I'm only going to give I'm going to actually give 4 examples, but this doesn't always happen, but sometimes we find that when we work out a plan, one thing is we'll never say no. We're not going to say, no, you cannot. We're always going to say, well, based on the way you have it, we're going to need you to consider a few other options here. And sometimes it's passive income. Sometimes it's just a withdrawal strategy or Roth conversions or something to make this plan work out. But from time to time, we find that people need other sources of income. Now, everybody's different now. So a lot of times people will go, well, hey, I enjoy working at the golf course for retirement, so I'll just be a starter and I'll make a few bucks and I have a good time. I'm hanging out with my friends. That could be an answer as well. We're going to go over some various types of passive income streams that you could use if you find out that your plan is not correctly in place. Now, if you don't know, hopefully you'll check us out at jazzwealth.com. We can put a plan together for you. We'll manage your investments and make sure everything goes smoothly for you. You can see everything right on the homepage. Okay, here's the trouble. I pulled these stats just because I was curious. 52% of baby boomers have less than $250,000 in their account in like retirement savings. That's not going to work, right? Especially if you're going to be on the earlier age of that retirement time period. We may need passive income. Only 14% have assets that are $500,000 all the way down to $250,000. That's not horrible, actually. You would think, like you read the headlines and you think, oh, I only have $2 million to retire. Am I going to be fine? You see those, right? I don't know where we're getting that from. We have lots of clients that maybe have $500,000-$600,000, and we can make that plan work. You're not going to be traveling the world every day, but people sometimes have less luxury or lifestyle needs. So I don't know if that's a big deal. But what it boils down to is, and this is truthful, about 2/3 of baby boomers are going to have to figure something out. And if you're in that camp, let's go over a little bit here today. Passive income. Now, I started looking up, I was curious like what the most popular passive income stream is for this age group. And it's rental real estate. Doesn't that kind of contradict itself a little bit? Like if you don't already have retirement savings, where's the other money coming from? Like how are you going to get into the rental market? But what I'm assuming is, okay, we're talking about people that have like 250 to 500 in 401ks and things like that. They may have some other liquid cash that they could use. And if that's the case, you're looking at something like rental income. This has to be something you're into. I know it's popular and everybody out there wants to buy real estate and rent it out and bonus depreciation, short-term rentals. I mean, we keep track of all this stuff. However, if you're not into it, what are you doing? Right? Like I'll be pushy on that one and go, you know nothing about this. Like what are you hoping for here? You can't go get a property manager or you don't get the tax benefits. Like what? So this one I take with a grain of salt and I go, hey, only because the majority of baby boomers are buying homes, I assume something's going on there and that this is a replacement for potentially some rental for your retirement income that you need. Okay. Just don't hold me to that one because I don't know many clients that are in a little bit of a tough spot retirement wise that can also just go buy a duplex. You could partner with somebody, join an LP or something like that. I've seen that. I don't know if I'm sold on that one. All right. Number 2, dividend stocks. Now I gave some general answers here as far as this goes, like dividend yields, companies, obviously that would be called, the dividend aristocrats that consistently raise their dividends. Okay, fine. That works. Now it could be something. I'm going to expand on this a little bit and go, I want you to look into the world of covered call ETFs. It's become incredibly popular. And if income is your focus, put the taxes aside for a second. Just if income is your focus, it at least has to be something you consider and look at the net result of what you would end with compared to staying the course. The other part that I would add to this is if you're a little bit market savvy, or if you just have interest in it, you've likely built up some core positions that you would be willing to sell at some point. Consider covered calls, right? You're just doing it yourself versus buying an ETF that does it for you. This has worked in numerous cases with clients who maybe work for a company like Verizon, right? And over the year, this is a bad example, but over the years, Verizon awarded them shares for various goals and benchmarks and stuff. You say, okay, well, if you're going to start reducing this sort of concentrated position, then maybe we sell covered calls to get out of them. That can generate income as well. And if you're one of those that sits around the market and you like looking every day, selling covered calls on mid to lower price stocks could still generate enough to offset some of the income that you're looking for. And remember, when you sell a covered call, there's no real risk. You already own the stock and you were willing to hold it anyways. You're just asking for additional income. People often argue that the risk is limited upside. Well, that's not a risk. That's a trade-off. The risk is next to nothing, right? Because you can't really screw that up if you're already going to have the stock. So the trade-off is no longer unlimited upside. But hey, if you're in that position where you need the extra income, you might have to trade that off to do that. So just wanted to expand on that one just a little bit. And we did a video on the S&P's raw returns, and then the returns if you reinvested the dividends. And remember, most of the returns come from reinvesting the dividends. So hopefully you're already doing something like that. I put this one in here because I actually have a good example. So, ebooks, Pinterest, you sell the stickers or whatever, little calendars and things like that, online courses, if that's something you're into. I put this in here not to tell you to go start a new side business where you do this, but because we have clients, and you might fall into this space. We have clients that have a real specialty and they go out and they want to continue this. They just don't want to work. One example, CNBC actually wrote an article about this guy. He's one of our clients, and he was a fairly high level mechanic, right? And he's younger now, so he retired early. But what he does is he goes on these sites where you can, like if I had a problem with my car, I'd go on the site and be like, hey, when I go to try to turn the car on, it just clicks, right? And he would respond back with a really detailed thing with my car, make and model and everything, and go, first thing you're going to do is you're going to get your battery tested, take it down here, get them to do this, whatever. Next thing, if that doesn't work, maybe look at your starter solenoid or whatever may be the case. And the site pays him to give quality advice. And then he's ranked based on the quality of his advice. And he only spends a couple hours doing this. He makes more than passive income. But this was his way of saying, well, I don't need all that income. And that's great that they're paying me, but I just needed to make up a little bit of money. So I don't have to be on there 24 hours a day. I already have the experience. Let me share that with people that find value in that. Okay, that was a really unique example, but this is meant to just get your brain to think a little bit. Like, what are you good at that you wouldn't mind spending a little time doing and maybe generating a little bit of money from that? So that was not really to tell you to go make an ebook, but it was like, hey, you have a skill. Go out there and share the skill. This one I'm not as excited about. I know it's popular. I threw it in there because I see that it's popular. I actually look this up when I go to different towns just to see like what's available and stuff. But renting your car on Turo, personally, I would never do it. I don't find it that interesting. And then one of the other things I found was these companies that like, hey, if you'll put a magnet on your car or sometimes a whole wrap, it just depends on how much you want, put this on the car to advertise for this company and we'll pay you to just drive around like you normally do. And some of them track like how much you drive and everything. But this could be passive income as well. If you are already out there doing it and you're going to go to the store and you're willing to slap a magnet on your car, it's not as popular around us. I don't really see anybody doing this, but I know in some of the Northeast areas, especially out West, I know it's really popular there. So it could be something. Again, this is not to tell you to go do this. This is just to get you to think, I can make some kind of passive income. And maybe there is a shortfall, right? So we've got the idea of doing this. It gets put in your head. And again, this is for people who you do know how much you need for retirement, right? You have worked this out. And if that's the case, you find you're running a little bit short. Well, what do we do? That's one of the things that we advise clients on here as well. When we find that, it's a little bit tricky, and we go, well, tell me a little bit more about that business that you have there. Could you sell part of your shares instead of selling all of them? And it really opens up the door to get people to think a little bit. So that's all today was, just get you to think. If you can't think, that was a horrible thing to say. If you don't want to think, or you're like, I need help and advice, well, come check us out at jazzwealth.com. 36th best advisor in the whole United States there, according to USA Today. You can look it up. And we appreciate you guys watching.